What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Before I get into this, I want to thank you all for helping me to hit 300 subscribers. We did it overnight. We're now at 301. The journey continues on, but as always, I do want to take a stop here and thank you guys for all the support on my videos. I know, you guys hit the like button, you comment, you hit the subscribe button, all of that stuff, and it helps me out so much, and I just wanted to make sure that I give you guys that thanks. But now we're going to get into what this video is actually about, and I was just kind of sitting here today. I've been doing my schoolwork. I'm just kind of chilling before I had to go into work, and I got a tweet from the NBA Twitter about back-to-back Kia NBA MVP award winners. Now, there's a lot of people that have done it back-to-back relatively for NBA history. We've got Jokic, we've got Giannis, Steph, LeBron, Steve Nash, Tim Duncan, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson has done it back-to-back, Moses Malone, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did it back-to-back twice now. And they basically, it's a small group of people relative to all of NBA history, but overall it's pretty impressive how many people have managed to win back-to-back MVPs. And the group of people that have managed to win triple or three-peat back-to-back MVPs, I guess it would be back-to-back-to-back MVPs, is even smaller. On this list, they only have, I think three people, counting Larry Bird, Wilt Chamberlain, and Bill Russell as the only people to win 3 straight MVP trophies. Now, this is obviously likely something that'll never happen in the current NBA just because of how much talent we have. And I wanted to talk about my favorite MVP candidates for this season. Obviously, they don't change a lot from year to year now. We tend to have the same dominant guys, but I do have one on my list, and probably my favorite this season, of a guy that I think has a major chance to win the MVP just because of how his team's built this year. But I do also want to put the one criteria in that most people remember, and some people forget about it, but I think it's probably out of everything outside of putting up a crazy amount of stats. I think the point of being on a winning team, being on a playoff team, is probably the biggest way you can either lose the MVP or win the MVP, because throughout history, there's only been one NBA player to win MVP without making the playoffs, and that was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar way back in 1975, 1976. So that is obviously a big deal. That's something that isn't going to happen probably for a long time. You'd have to put up like 80 points per game just for it to happen, honestly. So I'm just going to kind of ignore a lot of the teams, as usual, that would not be competing at a high level or don't really have an MVP candidate in the first place. And it's kind of difficult to guess or predict an MVP candidate before the season's even started, or before, you've had a chance to see them all get going and see how hot some of them can get. Because as always, that one year James Harden was, he was averaging 36 points per game at one point, and he lost the MVP because I think it was Giannis when all that beef started. You can be good in the season, but his team struggled at points across the year. Giannis and the Bucks, they ended up getting the first seed that season. So it looked to the voters that Giannis was the better player. Now, I'm not saying, either way, which way it goes. I'm not saying James deserved it. I'm not saying Giannis deserved it. That's a conversation in the past. But it is very difficult when you have already won 2 straight, when you've already won 1 MVP, to get the voters to vote for you a second time. And that's why I think a guy like Jokic, who, he's won the last 2. He's had, I believe he was in the race for the 3rd one 3 years ago. I think there's a very, very low chance that Jokic wins it again. I mean, he might just put up crazy statistics again, but if I had to bet on it, I wouldn't bet on Jokic winning it again. And it's kind of how Giannis went. Giannis had good enough stats, in my opinion, to win it a 3rd time, but because of voter fatigue, that's something we always hear, voter fatigue. It hits people when they're voting for MVPs a lot, and it hits them really hard. I think that's why Giannis was pretty much overlooked. He finished 2nd or 3rd, depending on where you looked. And that's why, if I had to choose between 2 candidates to win the MVP, I think Giannis does have a chance. But my top 2 candidates, first off, Luka Doncic has a major chance to win the MVP. Now, obviously, 2K Luka Doncic wins MVP every year because the boy be averaging 45 points per game. But I'm seriously, in all seriousness, in the real basketball world, Luka Doncic has a very good chance at winning MVP. He's already putting up elite MVP caliber numbers in the past. If he can improve that, which by my opinion, how little ball handling they now have on their team with the loss of Jalen Brunson, the offense is going to go through him even more. There's only one way his numbers can go up, in my opinion, or only one way his numbers can go, in my opinion, and that's up. He has a very good opportunity to lead this team now, as he is the primary and secondary scorer on this roster, his numbers are probably going to go up. His assist numbers are going to go up. He's going to be ball handling it a lot more than usual, especially, they're going to need him because Jalen Brunson isn't going to be there to ball handle. Spencer Dinwiddie's not exactly going to fill that role that Jalen Brunson had. He's a good player, but he's a different type of player than Jalen Brunson. So I do like this. They've got him some more weapons. Hopefully Spencer Dinwiddie can get going for the Mavericks. Hopefully Christian Wood can work out. JaVale McGee's going to be a lob threat. You've still got Dwight Powell. You still got Maxi Kleber, who is a very good three-point opportunity there for Luka Doncic at the point guard position. So that's why I think overall, if you had to bet on it, Luka is a very good opportunity or a very good choice to become the MVP for this NBA season. Not only was he already really good the last few years, but also the getting rid of the secondary scorer in Jalen Brunson, a guy who was easily, holding his weight. He was taking some of the weight off of Luka Doncic. Yes, he's going to be playing a lot. Yes, there's going to be a lot on his shoulders, but I think Luka's going to be more than capable of living up to that expectations, and in my opinion, that's why I would put him in at one of the top 2 MVP spots for this season. I think his numbers are probably going to be absolutely crazy. I think the team might struggle a little bit this season just without another primary ball handler to take some weight off of him, but they're still going to be good. Luka's going to be an MVP candidate or an MVP caliber player at the minimum. And next up, probably in my opinion, the favorite for MVP this season, I've got to go with Joel Embiid, my man. He's been hated on for, losing MVPs. He's been snubbed sometimes, you could say. He's been in the MVP race for probably like 4 or 5 years now. It feels like he's been elite. He's been consistently, in my opinion, the best center in the NBA, both statistically, physically, mentally, on the court, just the best center overall in the NBA. And he's developed his jump shot. He's developed his post game, which was already elite, and he's made it even better. He's developed his defense. Just in becoming an all-around elite center is something that we've seen Joel Embiid his journey through the NBA, where he went from, okay, he might be really good, to now, yes, he is really good. And I just have to put some respect on his name. You've got to feel like at some point he's going to break through. Jokic is pretty much out of the way unless he puts up amazing numbers, just because very rarely does somebody win 3 MVPs in a row. Giannis is there. He's got a chance because he had a break in the MVPs. He didn't win. Last time he won was in 2019, so he has a chance. It's been 3 years now coming into this season, so there's a very good chance that Giannis is in that talk, and I imagine he's going to be. But Joel Embiid, he's got snubbed so many times. He still put up MVP numbers, and it just kind of seems like he's just not quite good enough as far as the MVP numbers. It feels like he's right here, and then Giannis and Jokic just barely overdo him or outdo him as far as the numbers go in statistical categories and stuff. And that's why I think this is probably Joel Embiid's year to win an MVP. His team has got better. James Harden's fully healthy. They are now a very, very deep contending team in this NBA season, and I would be very shocked if Joel Embiid does not put up MVP caliber numbers. Yes, he has guys on that offense that can take away from him, but maybe his assist numbers go up. Maybe his playmaking gets a little bit better, but he's still going to get his boards. He's going to get his points. He's going to get his blocks. He's going to do all around everything you want out of an MVP caliber center. And that's why I would have to estimate that Joel Embiid has a very good chance of winning the MVP. Now, if you want to hear my dark horse candidates, obviously, there's always the guys out there. I mean, LeBron, after last year, if they're a playoff team, he could easily win MVP. Steph Curry obviously is a guy that could win MVP every season in and out. Ja Morant maybe is a dark horse MVP candidate if he can lead that Grizzlies team. We have to kind of see them need him, though, because last year they were actually consistently better without him on the floor. So we need to see Ja Morant be that guy and be needed by the Grizzlies, in my opinion, to be the most valuable player on his roster and in the NBA. Kind of a big deal to be the MVP, and also your team has a better record without you on the floor. Not saying Ja's a bad player at all. Obviously, he's very good, but that's just a weird statistic that kind of would weigh down his MVP caliber, or, his MVP, I guess, MVP argument there. So, obviously, there's a lot of guys you can choose from. At the end of the day, my 2 picks, Luka Doncic and Joel Embiid, probably have the best chance. Don't count out Giannis or any of the other guys, though, except for maybe Jokic. I would like to see him win it 3 times in a row. That would be crazy, but It's just very unlikely to happen. Who's your guys' pick this year to be the MVP candidate? Obviously, this changes as the season goes on, but I would love to hear from you guys now before the season, and maybe next time, and in a couple months, we'll get back to it, and I'll call a few y'all out, or y'all call me out for my stupid predictions if it's, not going my way. But thank you all for watching this video. If you did enjoy, please hit the like button and subscribe. As I said at the beginning of the video, thank you so much for 300 subscribers. As always, if you did enjoy this video, turn on post notifications so you never miss one of my videos. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.